Will we ever see each other again?
Who knows? God willing, we'll all meet again in Spaceballs 2. The search for more money.
And now, after all these years, we're actually getting that sequel. Because nostalgia. It's all we have left.
May the Schwartz be with you.
Welcome, y'all. Taylor James Johnson here, and I'm loving the 80s. The 80s were a beautiful time. A time when you could make jokes. A time when you could laugh at things. Anything, like Star Wars. And that's exactly what Mel Brooks did in 1987 with Spaceballs. This dude, first, he tackled the horror genre, making fun of that. Then he tackled the Western genre, making fun of that. And now all that there was left to do was science fiction. And boy howdy, did they hit this one out of the park with a hilarious cast that keeps you laughing at all the goofy gags and all the gaggy goofs. And yes, this Star Wars parody is better than most Star Wars movies. So it's time to revisit it. Spaceballs. May the Schwartz be with you. That's a line from the movie.
And may the Schwartz be with you.
People often say that they laughed until it hurt, but have you ever laughed so hard at a movie that it actually hurt?
Never have that damn thing down in front of me. How do I know you're not making faces at me under that thing?
President Scrooge.
Yes.
There it is.
For me, the earliest time that I can remember this happening was when at 6 years old, I saw Spaceballs for the first time. I remember it vividly. Here in Canada, we had our own version of HBO called First Choice, and one weekend in 1988, they were offering a free preview where the channels were unscrambled. One of the featured movies was Spaceballs, and that afternoon, my sister, a few friends, and I crowded around the TV to watch what we all agreed was the funniest movie that we'd ever seen. We laughed so hard that my father had to check in on us because we were literally screaming. I think he popped in right around ludicrous speed.
We can't stop. It's too dangerous. We've got to slow down first. Bullshit! Just stop this thing! I order you! Stop!
For kids of the 80s and beyond, Spaceballs is just an unassailable classic. And now, nearly 40 years later, Spaceballs 2 is finally happening. So what took so long? And why are people still obsessed with a movie that famously wasn't even that big of a hit when it was released in 1987?
I don't know about that beaming stuff. Is it safe?
Oh, yes, sir. Snotty beamed me twice last night. It was wonderful.
All right, I'll take a shot at it. What the hell, it works on Star Trek.
At the time, writer-director-star Mel Brooks was still riding high. Through the late 60s and 70s, he directed a string of iconic comedies including The Producers, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, and High Anxiety. He opened the 80s with History of the World Part 1 and had begun branching out into producing with unexpected hits like The Elephant Man, which introduced David Lynch to mainstream audiences, and David Cronenberg's The Fly. But his company actually nearly went under when he backed the infamous Solar Babies, which, if you haven't seen it, is a post-apocalyptic roller skating movie about teens. Yes, post-apocalyptic roller skating movie about teens. Like Mad Max, but on roller skates. It was meant to be a cheap cash grab, but it spiraled way out of control, ballooning to a $23 million budget. Star Wars only cost $10 million, so you can imagine. It was deemed unreleasable, and the movie indeed is pretty bad. Brooks was saved financially, but barely, when MGM UA, which was led by Alan Ladd Jr. at the time, the same executive who had greenlit many of Brooks' earlier hits, agreed to distribute it. Though he was still $9 million in the hole, Brooks later revealed on How Did This Get Made that the movie actually eventually went into a profit. Needing to get hit though, Brooks decided to play it safe and make something pretty commercial for MGM UA, Spaceballs. It was a parody of the Star Wars trilogy, but like the films it spoofed, it was crafted with serious care. Brooks brought in cutting-edge special effects talent, including some who'd worked on the original Star Wars films, and assembled a cast of rising comedy stars and fresh faces.
I am Princess Vespa, daughter of Roland, king of the Druids.
That's all we needed. A Druish princess.
Funny. She doesn't look Druish.
The biggest name among them at the time was John Candy, who was fresh off of hits like Stripes, Splash, Summer Rental, and Armed and Dangerous, all of which had done pretty well at the box office. Now this was Candy in his full zany phase, before John Hughes drew out his more dramatic chops in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Uncle Buck. He played Barf, a Chewbacca spoof who's
Half man, half dog. I'm my own best friend.
Next up was Rick Moranis, a fellow SCTV alum to Candy, who'd starred in Ghostbusters, Club Paradise, and Little Shop of Horrors. He played the hilariously inept Lord Helmet, a Darth Vader parody whose helmet was almost as oversized as his insecurities about his height.
I can't breathe in this thing!
Brooks himself appeared in dual roles. He'd play President Scroob, who was kind of a Moff Tarkin type, and Yogurt, a Yoda send-up with a thick Yiddish accent who teaches
The power of the Schwartz. Come on, concentrate.
Bill Pullman, then an up-and-comer thanks to The Serpent and the Rainbow and The Accidental Tourist, played Lone Star, a mashup of Luke and Han.
On this ship, you're to refer to me as idiot, not you, Captain. I mean, you know what I mean.
Daphne Zuniga, who many of us fell in love with watching this movie, portrayed Princess Vespa, a spoiled Druish version of Princess Leia.
Hey, I don't have to put up with this. I'm rich.
Joan Rivers lent her voice to Dot Matrix, Vespa's C-3PO-like robot companion.
How far did he get? What did he touch? What did he touch?
Nothing happened.
What the hell was that noise?
That was my Virgin alarm. It's programmed to go off before you do.
Plus, there was Dom DeLuise as Pizza the Hut. In a big coup, Mel Brooks was also able to enlist the one and only John Hurt for a cameo, with him having been friends with Hurt, to basically reprise his role from Alien as a guy who unfortunately has an alien come plowing out of his chest, to which he hilariously responds in the film,
Oh no, not again.
before the alien, launches into a song and dance, because hey, it's a comedy, right?
If you refuse me, honey, you lose me. Then you'll be left alone. Oh, baby, telephone and tell me I'm your own.
Given how closely Spaceballs mirrored Star Wars, you'd think George Lucas might have objected, but he actually gave the film his blessing. His only stipulation? No merchandising, so as not to compete with the actual Star Wars toys. This inspired one of the film's funniest scenes, where Yogurt unveils a full line of Spaceballs branded merchandise. The film also cleverly pokes fun at the home video craze, with the villains watching a copy of Spaceballs on VHS to figure out what happens next, while the movie is still happening. Despite its relatively modest box office, which was $40.3 million against the $25 million budget, which was respectable for 1987, Spaceballs exploded in popularity on home video, especially among kids. In fact, Brooks notes that on the Blu-ray commentary, many kids didn't even realize it was a comedy. They just saw it as a fun sci-fi adventure. And he's right. Unlike most spoofs, Spaceballs actually works as a movie. The story is engaging, the pacing is tight, and the production really is top-notch. John Morris's score expertly parodies John Williams while standing on its own, and the production design manages to feel both derivative and original. Quite the thing, right? Even the visual effects, which are handled by John Dykstra of Star Wars fame and his Apogee company, with some additional work by Lucas's own ILM, hold up remarkably well.
What the hell was that?
Spaceball 1. They've gone to plaid.
So why wasn't there ever a sequel? It simply didn't make enough money at the box office to justify one. And back then, studios weren't as sequel crazy as they are now. If a movie really wasn't a big blockbuster hit, usually you didn't get a sequel. The tragic death of John Candy, Rick Moranis' retirement following the death of his wife, and Bill Pullman's pivot to dramatic roles also complicated matters. By now, the stars have finally aligned. Moranis, who declined to return for the Ghostbusters sequels, has agreed to play Lord Helmet again, largely thanks, I would assume, to his friendship with Josh Gad, who is one of the writers and at one time was supposed to make a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids reboot with Moranis. Pullman also returns as Lone Star with his real-life son, rising star Lewis Pullman, co-starring. Daphne Zuniga is back as Vespa, and perhaps most amazingly, Mel Brooks himself is returning as Yogurt, even though he'll be over 100 years old by the time this movie hits screens. New cast member Keke Palmer, a longtime fan, is set to join the film, and it's really easy to imagine her playing a Ray parody. And with Lewis Pullman rocking some really long hair these days, it's easy to imagine him spoofing Kylo Ren. I mean, heck, let me write this movie.
You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now.
What happened to then?
We passed then.
When?
Just now. We're at now.
Go back to then.
When?
Now.
Now?
Now.
I can't.
Why?
We missed it.
When?
Just now.
Now, normally I'd be nervous about a sequel to a Brooks classic, especially after the disappointing History of the World Part 2, but the teaser trailer with its perfect spoof of the Star Wars opening crawl hit all the right nostalgic buttons, so sign me up for Spaceballs the prequel. I mean, let's face it, the Star Wars sequels, at times, were pretty bad, and Brooks and company, including the new director, Josh Greenbaum, who directed one of the funniest movies from the last few years, Barb and Star Go to Vista Del Mar, really could have a field day with this one. I am very much looking forward to this movie. I think it's gonna be great.
After 40 years, we asked, what do the fans want? But instead, we're making this movie.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. Joe Blow was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.